Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Anand Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Hridaya Go Premanande. So, it's quite cold outside, but still so many of our devotees are wearing the traditional clothes, especially these dhotis, and they don't care. I don't care, right? Devotees saying, I don't care how cold it is. I'm going to wear my dhoti today. I'm going to ring in the new year in the dhoti. This is adherence to the tradition. This is for pleasing Krishna, we'll do anything. That's the point. Right? So we will talk on this verse on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 41. It's a very, very famous verse. So you can repeat after me. Vyavasayatmika buddhi Ekeha kuru nandana Bahu shakha hyanantascha Buddhayo vyavasayina
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam.
Vyavasayatmika buddhi.
Vyavasayatmika buddhi.
Ekeha kuru nandana.
Ekeha kuru nandana.
Bahu shakha hyanantascha.
Bahu shakha hyanantascha.
Buddhayo vyavasayinam.
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam.
Please chant.
Vyavasayatmika buddhir.
Vyavasayatmika buddhir.
Ekehe kuru nandana.
Ekeha kuru nandana.
Bahu shakhahi anantasya.
Bahu shakha hyanantascha.
Buddhayo vyavasayinam.
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam.
Vyavasayatmika buddhi.
Vyavasayatmika buddhi.
Ekeha kuru nandana.
Ekeha kuru nandana.
Bahu shakha anantascha.
Bahu shakha hyanantascha.
Buddhayo vyavasayinam.
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam.
Vyavasayatmika buddhi.
Vyavasayatmika buddhi.
Ekeha kuru nandana.
Ekeha kuru nandana.
Shakhahinantascha.
Bahu shakha hyanantascha.
Buddhayo vyavasayinam.
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam.
Anyone else?
Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Ekeha kuru nandana. Bahu shakha hyanantascha. Buddhayo Vyavasayinam.
By translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Purport. A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 2262 states, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasha Kohe Shuddrida Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world, with obligations to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. Fruitive activities are the engagement of one's reactions from past good or bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudeva sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabha. A person in Krishna consciousness is the rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. As by watering the root of a tree, one automatically distributes water to the leaves and branches, so by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied. Om Ajnanatimirandasya
Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaः.
I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. It's a picture of my spiritual master, along with his spiritual master. So let us look at the verse again. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about faith, the definition of faith. What is faith?
If we put our faith, means if we put our decision in Krishna, then all the whatever has to be done is already completely fulfilled.
Right.
We don't have to do any other endeavor.
Right, so-
taking to Krishna consciousness.
Right. So faith means to make a decision to put a trust in Krishna, such that so trust. What factors do we use to determine who to trust and who not to trust? Like, for example, if you want to buy a used car, and if you look through the yellow pages or look through the list of used car sales companies, if you find a used car company that says honest used cars, it says honest, so it must be honest. I'm going to put my faith in this person. There's probably a reason why they use the word honest in the name, right? Like, if someone says, I'm going to tell you the truth, from that point on, nothing is going to be true. I tell you a true thing now, okay? So basically, if you have to say something like that, it's probably not going to be true. So we have to make a decision, a proper application of intelligence, where to apply faith, right? The verse doesn't talk about faith. The verse talks about Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. The verse doesn't talk about Shraddha. Yet the purport dives into Shraddha. Interesting, isn't it? So why? What is the nature of that? A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness, one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika intelligence. And then Mahaprabhu's definition, Shraddha Shabde. He actually, if you look at it, he's put the word Shraddha in quotes, which means he's going to define the word faith. And the definition of Vishwas. Vishwas means trust. Vishwasa ko hai, Shuddhrida Nishchaya. Nishchaya means determination. Shuddhrida means very, very firm determination or trust. On what point? On this one point. Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. By practicing Krishna consciousness, everything else that needs to happen, happens. Everything else that needs to be taken care of, will get taken care of. What about my own happiness? What about, will I miss out on something? Right? Because generally, that's a fear. It's a big fear of missing out something. FOMO. What does FOMO mean? Everyone knows this. Everyone knows everything. FOMO 2018. I'm going to put a 2018 there for some reason. Right? Fear of missing out. I think the FOMO Festival 2018. Yeah. FOMO, I looked it up. I thought it was kind of interesting. This is from Wikipedia. Fear of missing out, or FOMO, is a pervasive apprehension that others might be having rewarding experiences from which one is absent. Oh my God, all my friends are going to watch the ball drop, and here I'm stuck in this Tawako temple. At least I'm warmer. It's really cold in Times Square right now. This social anxiety is characterized by a desire to stay continually connected with what others are doing. Let's check on Facebook Live. Oh, the ball is dropping. I've never seen, actually I see it every year, but it must be cooler this year because, I don't know, it's a new ball or something, something new. freezing over there. There's a huge crowd. There's so much police, and all Starbucks won't let you into the bathrooms. It's awful. FOMO is also defined as a fear of regret, which may lead to a compulsive concern that one might miss an opportunity for social interaction or a novel experience or profitable investment or other satisfying events. And someone thinks, oh man, I feel so bad. I should have invested in Amazon in the 90s when it was like nothing. And now I should have bought Bitcoin when it was like 2 cents or something. It's called FOMO. Right? In other words, FOMO perpetuates the fear of having made the wrong decision on how to spend the time. As you can imagine how things could have been different or could be different. Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That by taking up Krishna consciousness, I'm going to be missing out on so many things. If we have that anxiety in our mind, then that faith is not very strong. It's actually not even faith. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kare Shudrig Nishchoy Krishna Bhakti Kele Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. So, Krishna talks about Devasayatmika Buddhi Ek Eha Kurunandana. Kurunandana means son of the Kurus, Arjuna. Ek Eha, one-pointed, single-pointed intelligence. Single-pointed intelligence means I only want one thing. I don't want 2 things or 3 things. What happens if I want 2 or 3 things? It's called branches. Your intelligence is branched out. Instead of a single-pointed goal, we get multiple goals, then our intelligence becomes many-branched. Bahu Shakha. Hiyanantasha. Shakha means branches. So when your intelligence is many-branched, that is called irresolute. It's not resolute. Okay? So what is the point of one-pointed focus? The goal is Krishna. Krishna. Should be Krishna. Right? So focus should be becoming Krishna conscious. Understanding about Krishna. Hearing about Krishna. Serving Radha Krishna. And that will actually make us happy. So strong faith that by Krishna consciousness, one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Satvika intelligence. So keep calm and say no to FOMO. Alright? I just found this somewhere. It's like, apparently this FOMO is like a big deal. Everybody seems to be worried. And that's a fear. Fear of missing out. Fear is all kinds of fear, but this is like something new. And YOLO. What is that? Like if you have YOLO, there's no FOMO. It's ridiculous. And if you have attitude, you only live once, let's just enjoy whatever you want to do, then there's no FOMO. I think in 20 years, the English language is completely different. It's awful. So we can be happy. Now you might think, if I do only one thing, then what about the 50 other things that I really need? Forget about one, I need them. I need so many things. But what happens, right? So when we take up Krishna consciousness, there's many side advantages that actually cover all our needs and wants. More than sufficiently. In fact, in the best possible way. So what happens when you take up Krishna consciousness? What does it promote? Universal brotherhood. Everybody wants to say there's peace on earth, we want peace in mind, peace between countries, we should all be brothers, universal brotherhood. It's not possible to have universal brotherhood without recognizing fatherhood of one person. Brothers means belonging to one father. So we recognize Krishna as a father. And so we promote universal brotherhood in a very genuine way. Then we see each other not based on the skin or caste or even species. We see everything as, every individual soul as eternal and equal in the eyes of the Lord. Because all children are equal in the eyes of the Father. And then we treat them with appropriate respect, and then there will be mutual love. Develop a positive outlook in life. Right? You develop a healthy lifestyle. You don't have any bad habits that are destroying your body. Alcohol and tobacco and so many intoxicants are really bad for you. And then having unhealthy relationships and things that we do in Krishna consciousness, like waking up early, chanting Hare Krishna. All those things are very, very healthy, even from a physical point of view. And of course, our life is not drab. Our festivals are so colorful, right? We have so many of them. a dozen festivals throughout the year. Before you know it, one festival after another. Sometimes there's just too many even. But there's no shortage of fun and colorful interactivities and a variety of enjoyment in Krishna consciousness. The vibrant social life based on genuine respect. We want to help others improve their life. We want to cultivate our own internal saintly qualities. And there's a deep undercurrent, a sense of satisfaction that flows in our heart. That finally I'm doing something right because we are situated in our constitutional position. Our life becomes simpler, simple living, and high thinking. These are all points that make us very, very happy and covers all our needs from every angle. Therefore, Krishna consciousness, the system, actually makes us happy. So what happens when our confidence becomes greater? Our faith becomes stronger. Now this process, this is a very nice verse that I like from Srimad Bhagavatam. O King, one who accepts this process of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead will never blunder on his path in this world. Even while running with eyes closed, he will never trip or fall. What does that mean? Doesn't mean that now you have beads in your hand, so you close your eyes and run outside. No. The point here, running with eyes closed means that even if you don't fully understand Shastra, even if you don't fully understand all the Vedas, that's like eyes closed. I don't understand all Vedas, but if I just follow this simple process, the basic understanding of who I am, who is the Supreme Lord, and what I need to do every day, then you're on the right path under the guidance of the Guru. Then you can run full speed, you'll never trip or fall. That's what it means. You'll never blunder because Krishna is in charge. And Guru, who represents Krishna, is giving us the guidance. So, the reason why I chose this verse, it has the word in it, resolute. And New Year's Day, everybody makes resolutions. It's like a big deal, right? We've been making resolutions. So let's make Krishna the focus of our life as a resolution. There's different ways of doing that. What are some of the resolutions that people do, right? Like, for example, you can read 2-3 hours a day. Yeah, Alex, I don't feel like reading, but he's forcing himself. He wants to look outside the window, but he's like, no. He's holding his hair. Let's see, how do you read this? Okay. But he's trying, or you can do like, I'm going to chant 64 rounds now. That's the face you're going to make when you're doing the first round of the 64 rounds. Alright? I'm going to shave my head. I'll wear this. I don't care how cold the floor is. I'm just going to sit in these robes, hold these beads, and close my eyes real tight. My lips are going to stick out like that. And I'm really going to focus on 64 rounds every day. Alright, so I can make resolutions. But what happens with resolutions? I say December 31st, there's nobody at the gym. January 1st, everybody's there. You can see everyone. These are all your cousins. You can recognize them. You can see them from the front. You can see everybody's right. It looks like Kaushik Kaka. I mean, everybody's there. Everybody who has the gym membership, but they haven't been using it. So January 1st, everybody goes, and the people who go regular, like, who are all these people all of a sudden? January 2nd, of course, back to normal. And some people don't even bother, like this lady over here. I didn't go to the gym today, but the cashier's name at McDonald's was Jim. So same thing. So we can rationalize, it's close enough. I put on my headband at least. So New Year's resolutions can be tough. Why? Because our minds are conditioned. It's very difficult to pull ourselves out of these bad habits. And then people will, if you say, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution, someone will come and say, good luck with your New Year's resolution. Put in quotes, Or some people are so fried. I don't want to hear about it. Say New Year's resolution one more time. I dare you. I'll kill you. They don't want to hear it. So everybody kind of frustrated, right? The whole New Year's resolution process is ridiculous. Alright? So why make a resolution? You see, sometimes we have this ideal, or this is the perfect way I should be. And then we go for that, straight away for that, our idea of what is perfection. And And then there's the other end of extreme, don't do anything, do nothing. But better than any of these is something. Why? Because to do something positive is way, way better than doing nothing. Right? And then the difference between something and the extreme perfection is actually barely noticeable in comparison. You see what I'm saying, right? It's better to do something tangible that is reasonable, but it may not be perfect. There's a famous saying that don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Sometimes we decide I'm going to be perfect right now, and then we paralyze ourselves, we can't even do good. It's better to do good in a reasonable way, something that we can manage, something that will be not just for lip service, but something that will be tangibly contribute to our growth. It could be anything. We're all smart enough to figure that out. Or we can discuss with those who are progressive to try to figure out what is that spot which is good, may not be necessarily perfect, but it will ensure that 2018 will be substantially better than 2017. Right? Because there's always room for growth. Idealism is a double-edged sword. You generally want the very best thing, and when almost inevitably one falls short, one can be tempted to hide his failure by putting on a show of advancement. This is called hypocrisy. Even Krishna talks about this. He says, Mithyachara sauchyate. That if you are trying to put on a show of something that you are more than you actually are, and that is called hypocrisy. The famous saying by this French philosopher, hypocrisy is the homage vice pays to virtue. See? If you understand what that means, but I didn't understand. I read it like 5 times. Hypocrisy is the homage vice pays to virtue. You see? Okay, I'm going to pretend to be, vice is bad and virtue is good, and vice is going to pretend to be virtue, and I'll pay you the homage called hypocrisy. Right? So what does Srila Prabhupada say about this? Right? Srila Prabhupada has given us many, many times instructions on what to do, what not to do, how much to do, etc. So this is from Nectar of Devotion, chapter 7. I found this very interesting. Because sometimes someone might say, Prabhupada said this, so this is like the ideal, this standard. He never compromised on anything, and he never did. But he gave us some practical advice in his books, Nectar of Devotion, very standard textbook of how to practice Krishna consciousness. In the Naradiya Purana, it is directed. One should not accept more than necessary if he is serious about discharging devotional service. The purport of this is that one should not neglect following the principles of devotional service, nor should one accept the rulings of devotional service which are more than what he can easily perform. Interesting. If you cannot easily perform something, it's very difficult. It's so difficult. Right? One should not accept those rulings of devotional service which we cannot easily perform. For example, it may be said that one should chant the Hare Krishna mantra at least 100,000 times daily on beats, 100,000 names, which translates to 64 rounds, which takes 7-8 hours depending on. But if this is not possible, then one must minimize his chanting according to his own capacity. Srila Prabhupada minimized this standard for us substantially to 16 rounds instead of 64 rounds. But he said 16 rounds is the minimum to make tangible progress on a daily basis. 16 rounds is something doable by practically everybody. 64 rounds may not be, but 16 rounds is doable by even those who are working, even those who are commuting very far. It's quite doable. 16 rounds is not so bad. So, what are the key practices of Krishna consciousness? Main one. Chant what? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So what are some ways on how to chant this mantra? One is Kirtan, like we did just earlier. During the Aarti, we were all dancing in ecstasy. A lot of newcomers who come, they're quite astounded. Wow, these people are so happy. Like seriously, if you're not used to this, us guys are used to it. We sit every day, every Sunday at least. But if you think from an angle of someone who hasn't seen this sort of ecstasy, it's actually quite astounding. Usually you think of mandir like a typical mandir would be, you go there, you ring the bell, there's a bell there, you bow down, they'll give you some chanamrit maybe, or some like rock candy, or half a banana, that's called prasad, and then you stand there and make sure that, like you're looking at the deity, and then you look on the side when the other guy is ready to go, then then you go, That's basically what you do in mandir. You don't come here and you find like 50 people jumping up and down and smiling from ear to ear like they're so happy. That's not what you expect. In ISKCON, we don't mess around. We don't dilute anything. We express our ecstasy in front of the Lord, and even if you're having difficulty expressing it, we encourage others to do it, to break out of that shell, that cold shell that's holding us back to express ecstasy. Because it allows us to show the Lord that, my Lord, I'm actually happy to see you. We may not be used to showing it that way, but when we associate with others, then we feel a little bit less inhibited. We feel more natural, So this kirtan process is actually very, very powerful and very authorized. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, you can see, he is in the kirtan pose all the time because he's enjoying kirtan. And that's Lord Krishna himself. He's enjoying it, and he's inviting all of us to enjoy. No qualifications required at all. Okay? Another way of chanting Hare Krishna is japa. This private japa. This private japa, you can see some devotees, they have these bead bags. So you can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You still have to vibrate the sound. It's not that it's in the mind only. You actually make the sound loud enough that you can hear, someone next to you can hear it. But the idea is that we can really connect deeply with Krishna in our heart and Krishna in the holy name. Krishna is available in our holy name, in the holy name. So now imagine that we only have a few more hours before 2018, right? So there's nothing to imagine. But what if someone said that in 2018 I won't be able to chant Hare Krishna? All the chanting you can do has to be in 2017. Then what would be the quality of our japa? Right? It'll be pretty cool. At least this is the best we can muster. Right? So let us imagine this right now and chant 3 mantras together with the utmost intensity, as if these are the last 3 mantras we're going to utter. Why not? And push ourselves to a limit in terms of turning to the Lord, getting closer to His holy name. Okay? So let us close our eyes and chant all together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. This is nice. It's very purifying. It feels good. Even 3 mantras, when done in a group like this, feels good. And if you remember to be intense and focused, we can get better and better at this process. So there's kirtan where you sing with others. There's japa where you chant with the beads in private. And you can sing when you're alone. There's nothing wrong. If you're singing too loud, the neighbors might complain. But you can sing like this guy is in ecstasy, right? He's singing in the shower. You can sing like this one in the shower, because you have to be in the shower anyway. Might as well sing Krishna's name. You don't sing like this guy got actually a sponge that's shaped like a microphone. So he really gets into it, And he put on his Sonny Bono sunglasses. He's really getting into it, We don't have to do that much, but at least we can sing when we get the opportunity, right? Isn't it? So tomorrow everyone should, right? In the shower. It's not so loud the neighbor's going to wake up. Alright, so this is the most important practice in Krishna consciousness, is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Because there's no difference between Krishna and His name. And there are no hard and fast rules, which allows you to do that in the bathroom. Alright. Key practices of Krishna consciousness. Next one. Prasadam. This is awesome. It's like my favorite practice of Krishna consciousness. Especially because like I don't know how to cook, but I have a wife who cooks. She cooks awesome. So we offer it like this, whatever we make, right? Whatever you are going to eat, we should offer it to Krishna. And we should only offer to Krishna what is offerable to Krishna. So offerable foods are sattvic foods. They have to be vegetarian, they have to be fresh, they have to be free from like certain smelly vegetables we don't offer, like onions and garlic, because they're like the mode of ignorance. But other than that, it's pretty much most vegetables are good. You want to cook them fresh, grains, nuts, fruits, milk products are also good. Just make sure they're made with all like vegetarian ingredients. You can offer juices. And if you don't have like little deities at home or something, it doesn't matter. You can take pictures like these. Take a picture of Srila Prabhupada, take pictures of Radha Krishna, Gauranitai. And you can just offer to the picture whatever we eat. We should eat prasadam. We should eat only prasadam. We should not eat anything else, because other foods will affect our consciousness. We don't know how it will affect it. It could be negative. So eat only prasadam. Alright? And then hearing and reading. Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam and other books by Srila Prabhupada, they'll focus our intelligence and make us, our faith stronger and stronger. Right? We should not be lazy about applying our intelligence in understanding Siddhanta. There's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Siddhanta tutte bolye na kare alash. Right? You should not be lazy. Alas means laziness. Don't be lazy in this process. If you cannot read, you can always hear. We have this website, ISKCON Desire Tree. You can hear so many classes. There are also audio books available, audio recordings of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Not classes, just audio recording. You can just find them online. They're available. So hearing and reading, we should do at least a little bit every day. It really, really helps us a lot. It will sometimes help us through specific problems also in our life. I've had it at least 4 or 5 times in my life where I really don't know what to do. It's so difficult, some major problem, and I randomly open some canto in the Bhagavatam, and that particular purport or that story or that example is telling me exactly what I should do and what I shouldn't do, how to look at that specific problem. You'll be amazed at how the Lord reciprocates through these books, because Krishna is the Bhagavatam. Krishna is not different from Srimad Bhagavatam. So try to get a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. If you don't have it, it's also available online. You can read online. You can get it in ebook format, read on your iPad and so on. Another one, visit the temple regularly. The temple right here, this temple, we are open 7 days a week at 4:30 in the morning. No matter how cold it is, it's going to be open. And you'll come here and you'll be surprised to find there's an aarti going on 4:30 in the morning every single day. All right? And it goes on till evening. We have the evening program, 7 o'clock aarti and so on. And middle of the day too. So visit the temple regularly. If you want to chant japa, if you don't live too far, if you're on the way, you can just stop by and stand in front of the deities and chant japa. It's a really nice place to be. Okay, so today I came across this very nice list by His Holiness Sachinandan Swami. He wrote this for like to serve as a New Year's resolution list for 2018. It's really nice, very practical things. He said, see if we can apply some of these. It'll help us improve. Choose good friends and dare to talk with them of things you are usually silent about. This actually comes directly from Nectar of Instruction. Which is that verse? Remember? Right. So how does the verse start? Dadati pratigranati kuhyam akashit prachati Punkte bhojate seva shadviti priti lakshanam. Priti lakshanam. These are symptoms of affectionate dealings between devotees. So find a good friend. Of course, you want to find someone who is on your wavelength, who understands you, you understand them, etc. And you can talk and open up with them and ask, maybe talk about how can I improve, how can I help. Know that giving service, compassion, and time for your ultimate goals, the real treasure of life, are given to you. In giving service, in giving service, compassion, and time for your ultimate goals, you get the real treasure of life. So we have to give our time. We have to do service. We have to be compassionate. We have to be helpful. Right? Then we get treasures. These treasures are not going to come on their own. Then this is something we talked about yesterday on this point of deity worship. We're having discussion with devotees on deity worship. And when we offer deity worship or any other service we do, act out of love rather than duty. Of course, there are things we have to continue to do responsibly, even if they're hard, even if you don't feel like doing them, and you do them, that is called duty, because it's absolutely necessary to do it. But try to have the driving force be a sense of loving affection and care. Learn to think thoughts that give you energy. Right? It's possible, not only possible, it's very likely we tend to get absorbed in thoughts that are very negative and they zap our energy. Two things that are very limited in this Kali Yuga are time and energy, actually. If they zap our time and they zap our energy, we don't get anything progressive, we should avoid those as far as possible. Right? We tend to lament, we tend to hanker, two things. Right? Those lamentation and hanker actually zap your energy. Right? Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Na Shochati Na Kankshati. So to be on the platform of spiritual existence, one should be free from lamentation and hankering. And worry. We worry for things. Worry doesn't really help anything. So learn to think thoughts that give you energy. What are thoughts that give us energy? Thoughts of hope. Thoughts of other progressive devotees. Thoughts of progressive ideas. Thoughts of practical solutions. Thoughts of how we can intensify our Krishna consciousness. Good thoughts for other people. Wishing other people well. These thoughts actually give us energy. Read the Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Even if it's 1 page or 2 pages, doesn't matter. Or hear it. This one I like. Remember every day that you are a citizen of the spiritual world, spending a little time in the guest house of planet Earth. It's nice. But that's who we actually are. Right? The magazine of our movement is called Back to Godhead. Why back? That's where we belong. That's our home. So go back. Back to Godhead. We don't belong here. Back home, back to Godhead. That's right. We're going back home. We're just temporarily over here. Right? If you go to a hotel room, if you're going to be in a hotel for say 3 days, how much time are you going to spend? Are you going to change the curtains and do new wallpaper? No, right? It's ridiculous. You're only there for 3 days. I don't like the color of this wallpaper. I'm going to spend 6 hours going to Home Depot to change the wallpaper. That's what we do. You go in Taiki. So that's what we try to do in this ridiculous short span of human life. We're going to change the wallpaper in our lives when it is not worth the time or effort to do it. By wallpaper, I mean, temporary things we put way too much energy, way too much time. That time and energy could have spent to take the next step in Krishna consciousness, whatever that next step may be. Let go of your fear. Right? What is the fear we talked about? FOMO. Surrender. Do this by conscientiously choosing small acts. You write small acts because they're very easily doable. Small acts which you do only for the pleasure of the Lord. Right? You do something with our body and our mind, specifically only for the pleasure of the Lord. That is called bhakti. Right? Does anyone know the definition of bhakti? As given in Narad Pancharatra. Narad Pancharatra is our textbook on bhakti. And there's a famous verse in there that defines bhakti. This is called bhakti. No, that is not Narad Pancharatra. Yes. Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam tatparattvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. Bhaktir uchyate means this is called bhakti. To give up our designations and use our senses to please the senses of the Lord. So that's what this is. Small things to please the Lord. Write down your realizations and share them with others. This is always nice to do. You know? Listen to saints every day. We can read what they wrote. We can hear what they say. There's a lot of recordings available. So goals. I'm just going to wrap up now. Short-term goal. Try to read a little each day. This is goals on Bhagavatam. Medium-term goal can be, let's finish the Bhagavatam the next year or 2 or 3. We can do something like this. This is a medium-term goal. The short-term goal, from tomorrow, read a little each day. Even if it is half a page. If I don't have the book, I'll go on vedabase.com or something. It's all out there. It's all available on my phone. I can read it. Half a page, 1 page, 41 pages. If you read 41 pages every day, why 41? Why not 40 or 42? If you read 41 pages every day, in 1 year you finish your Bhagavatam. 41 is it's a bit much maybe. If you're in 2 years, you can do 20. Anyway, so medium term, finish Bhagavatam next year or 2. You can do it 4 years, doesn't matter. Let's try to finish it. And of course, long-term goal, dance with Krishna. Long-term goal, multiple lifetimes. But Srila Prabhupada said, if you follow intensely in this lifetime, we should all go back home, back to Godhead. It's not impossible. He's given us everything we need to do. Long-term goal, dance with Krishna, because this is where we belong. Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. So, any questions, comments, discussion? Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, very nice class. Thank you, Prabhu. And so, on the first one, Prabhupada mentioned this sentence. So I need clarification. One who is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family, traditions, humanity, or nationality.
Right.
So how does that practically possible? So what does that mean?
Look at that. That's, I guess the page on the letter right there. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family, traditions, humanity, or nationality. So this is an important question, because what are obligation to family tradition? In our, yes, my question? Yes, okay. So the question was this sentence: when one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligation to family, traditions, humanity, or nationality. How does this apply to us practically? How are we supposed to understand this? Are we supposed to stop doing everything for nation or humanity or family traditions? So what this means is that when we are born in this world, we owe a debt to a lot of things. We owe a debt to the nation that we're born in. We owe a debt to our forefathers and our fathers and parents and our family, because they gave us the body. We owe a debt to all of humanity, without which the whole society cannot function. We owe a debt also to demigods and so on, who provide us with air to breathe, water to drink, etc., etc. So one example is this pindadan. Pinda is an obligation that we are born with. We have to offer pinda to our forefathers who are in Pitruloka. It'll help them in their journey in the afterlife, right? But for one who is Krishna conscious, who is chanting Hare Krishna, serving the Lord, that pindadan gets taken care of. That pindadan becomes actually immediately optional. Why? Because what you are offering to your forefathers by becoming a devotee is far greater than any pinda. It's far greater than any food grains that you're going to offer that they're starving in some difficult place. No, it's far greater. If your duty is to give your forefathers $100 every month, but instead of $100, you give them $100,000 every month. Then if someone criticizes you, hey, you're not giving $100, you're supposed to give $100. But I'm giving 100,000. No, but 100 you're not giving. No, they cannot criticize that you're not giving 100 because 100,000 already includes all that 100. You see, so it becomes immediately optional or actually obsolete. All these subtle obligations that we have. Doesn't mean we give up our legal obligations. If you're born in certain countries, you have to enroll in the military, for example. If you're born in Israel, every Israeli citizen has to be in the military for some years. That's just the way it is. You can't say that, I'm Krishna conscious, so I can't do this. Even here, when they had a draft, you know what's a draft, right? Like when you open the door and cold air comes in, that's a different draft. There's another draft in the 60s where you were obliged by the government to join the military if you're within a certain age. If you're a male between a certain age, you have to join military and go to Vietnam and fight. But they did allow religious exemption, that if you can prove that in your religious basis you're a conscientious objector or something like that, then you could be exempted from the draft. So even that, Krishna consciousness could have saved you from the draft. But point being that you're not obliged. It's just a crude example. The point is that the things that we owe to society by becoming a devotee and giving your mental and your time and other resources, energy to promoting Krishna consciousness, that promotion of Krishna consciousness is such a greater service to humanity that our obligation to humanity is more than fulfilled, much more. That's what Prabhupada is saying. And then the example that he gives, very standard example, you water the root of the tree and then the branches, the leaves, everything gets nourished because you are actually doing a more direct service. Not only that, but those who are doing the other way are not even watering the tree properly. He's spraying water on the leaves. What good is that? It doesn't work. The leaves cannot absorb water. They're not designed for that. Only the root absorbs water. You may think you're watering the tree. So that's the point. Our obligations are fulfilled when we get devotees. Right? Sarva karma krita hoy. Is that good? Thank you. Right? Yes.
Prabhu, can you please clarify if, one confusion I have. In the class you mentioned that there is a good and there is perfection. We may not achieve perfection, but at least try to do good. In the light of going back to Godhead and perfecting this life and making it back home, how do you justify? How do we think it in terms of how much is good? Or should we pursue perfection or not? How do we think in that terms?
Okay, so the question is, should we pursue the state of perfection, or should we just completely abandon that pursuit in the name of practicality? Right? So this is where it's a very good question, because sometimes, like the example Prabhupada gave is that the 100,000 may be difficult to do, the 64 rounds, but he said we should do minimum 16 rounds. Right? So in ISKCON, our bare minimum is called 16 rounds, but depending on the person, perfection is 16 rounds. Right? Because, right? I don't know if that's a good example, but what is that perfection? And what is that pursuit? So the pursuit means I need to become a pure devotee. Pure devotee means fully focused on Krishna and fully following the rules, follow the direction of spiritual master. Spiritual master, who is the representative of Balaram, becomes the conduit to Krishna. Therefore, what makes it very easy for us and not do guesswork is follow the spiritual master. The spiritual master understands your level. The expert spiritual master, representative of Krishna, will understand your level. The perfection is the goal. Spiritual master ensures you reach the goal. The goal is what? Developing love of Godhead. That is perfection. There is no other perfection. That is Siddhi. Now, if that is the goal, and the spiritual master is telling you do this, we just have to follow those steps and reach the perfection. Right? So I don't know if that answers the question, but the example I was going to give is we could use the other end of the spectrum to justify our laziness. Prabhupada said, do how much you can. Oh, this is awesome. Right? I can just do, like in the japa beads, right? We have the counters, right? We have 16 on one side and 4 on one side. Right? So, this is awesome. Some days I can do 16, some days 4. The reason we have 4 on the other side is you have to multiply with 16, you count 64. That's the reason why we have those 4. Okay? Those 4 on the other side. So you may think some days 1 round, 4 rounds, who cares? So then Prabhupada explains that no, we minimize to 16, but why is it bare minimum? Because you cannot cook with smoke. You may argue that where there's smoke, there's fire. And so, something I'm doing, but if we don't do the bare minimum, we'll not even make any progress towards achieving perfection. Perfection has to be reached. That is the goal of everyone. And it's possible to do in one lifetime if we follow the bare minimum. Bare minimum by the mercy of the spiritual master, who is actually negotiating with Krishna on our behalf, actually. The negotiation that the spiritual master does on our behalf, that he closes that bridge between imperfection and perfection, and he's that bridge between it. But the bare minimum has to be done. If we say the smoke is there, I put some rice and water and dal, and then wait for khichdi, you'll never make khichdi. You must have some bare minimum temperature. They say you cannot cook with smoke. So we may make arguments, but spiritual master gives us at least some standards to make tangible progress. There is such a thing as objective, tangible standards, which is what we have. So I think your question was to make sure that how do we not fall into the trap of taking advantage of this liberal, right, practical, and become lenient on ourselves. Because it's very easy to become lenient on ourselves. That's the best thing we can do, right? If you want to go to gym, but you said, I went to McDonald's, the guy's name was Jim, it's close enough, So that's the reason why I gave that example, is because our mind very easily jumps to the least common denominator, always. And our mind is very, very strong and powerful like that. Therefore, the spiritual master and the books and the guidance, the practical guidance is given. See, he's lowered the standard for us substantially. So then now we should jump and take it. Prabhupada would say that in the past, yogis, just to get a glimpse of the Lord, they would, in the winter time like this, they would submerge themselves in the Himalayas in cold water like this for hours on end and focus on the Lord in the heart. And in the summertime, they would surround themselves with fires. Summertime, when it's 100 degrees plus, and they would burn fires all around, practically almost burning them, and sit like this and tolerate that. And we can't do this much. We can't do 16 rounds, 4 regular principles. It shows that there's some intensity required. Tivrena bhakti yogena ejete purusham param. Intensity is required. So you cannot cook with smoke. You want to learn to turn on the fire. Learn from Srila Prabhupada, learn from the books, learn from other progressive devotees. And the reason why I use progressive devotees is that those devotees who can help us on a practical level day to day, who can give us genuine guidance and understand our modern problems. Those devotees, we should hang out with them. Understand how they are also making their own progress and learn. Right? Is that good enough? All right. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.